Alice in Wonderland has been done to death in cinema, art, cosplay, music videos, and of course, fashion. But even though we've seen it time and time again, in my opinion, it doesn't get old. Let's go down the rabbit hole. I need a rattler. Hi, I'm Tay, I'm a fashion designer and artist. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to look at some of the most notable examples of Alice in Wonderland inspiration in fashion, and then, of course, create our own collection at the end. So stick around to see what we create together. If you're a newer viewer, firstly, subscribe, because I've heard if you don't subscribe, your hands begin to shrink. Only your hands, and I don't know what that means. But if I were you, I wouldn't want to find out and I would just subscribe. But also, this might be the first time you're joining us for a fashion history and design challenge video. Welcome. Basically, we're going to walk together through some Alice in Wonderland history, look at some examples of Alice in Wonderland inspiration in fashion, and then create a collection of our own after making an inspiration mood board. So let's get into it. Alice in Wonderland, originally Alice's Adventures Underground, was written in 1862 by Charles Dodson, aka Lewis Carroll. The story follows 7-year-old Alice through a nonsensical, dreamlike world, following the White Rabbit and encountering all sorts of interesting and strange characters and creatures. After the official publishing of the story in 1865, it was massively popular, and Carroll wound up also releasing sequels, Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. In 1951, Disney released their version, which I must say was an absolute all-time favorite of mine as a child, and this version sort of combined and streamlined the story, adding elements from Through the Looking Glass and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. The ending is a bit different as well. In the book, Alice stands up to the Queen's cards, but in the film, she's chased away and wakes up. Tim Burton's version is more of a sequel than a remake. Alice is a bit older, being 19 now instead of a child, and to escape a marriage proposal she doesn't want, she goes back to Wonderland, but doesn't remember her first time there. Each version of the story feels whimsical and childlike, but sometimes I'd even say a bit unsettling, and I think that's why we all love the story and visuals so much. As for fashion, Alice in Wonderland has been a source of inspiration for so many designers, and that makes sense to me. While I say Alice in Wonderland has been done to death, I'm certainly not sick of seeing renditions of these inspirations. In 2025, Maria Chiuri grabbed inspo from Alice and designed the Spring-Summer Haute Couture collection for Christian Dior, based around the fairy tale. Maria played with silhouette and texture, emulating birds and whimsy in every detail. The materials used, in my opinion, represent the delicate but also demanding nature of Alice herself. Laces, bows, ruffles, frills, but also some clean and precise looks. While the inspiration of Wonderland for this collection is rather subtle and not so on the nose like some other looks we'll see today, once you know the inspiration behind the pieces, I feel that it is clear. In 2003, Natalia Vodianova featured a Vogue editorial much more visually obviously inspired by Alice in Wonderland. This is considered by many in fashion to be the ultimate example of Wonderland inspiration in haute couture, even though this is not a singular collection per se, but a combination of many designers and brands' pieces curated into a single spread. One-of-a-kind pieces were created just for this shoot in what is called Alice Blue, with designers including Christian Lacroix, Chanel, Gaultier, Dior, and Victor & Rolf. Alexander McQueen, for their fall-winter collection in 2016, also apparently drew inspiration from Alice, but in a unique way. This collection was much darker, and fashion commentators and critics said that it was if we went down the rabbit hole and found deviance. I should note here, however, the designer, Sarah Burton, never explicitly stated that the collection was indeed inspired by Wonderland. That was a comparison drawn post-show. Sarah said that the collection was more, quote, where reality and dreams become blurred, which I guess sort of is the whole thing around Alice in Wonderland. Around the time of the release of Tim Burton's live-action Alice in Wonderland in 2010, famous French department store Printemps Haussmann officially partnered with Disney and did a massive collaborative art installation for their storefront window displays. Printemps commissioned some of the world's top designers to make custom and one-of-a-kind Alice dresses for the display. Amongst these designers was Alexander McQueen. This display ran from the 1st of February through the 13th of March. but tragically during that time span, Alexander McQueen passed away via taking his own life at the age of just 40 on February 11th, just days after his mother passed away. That made this Alice in Wonderland inspired art installation the last public design project that he gave us. Other designers involved in the display were Christopher Kane, Mason Martin Margiela, Chloe, and Manish Arora. Versace also released an Alice in Wonderland inspired collection during spring-summer of 2010. Donatella told reporters backstage that the collection was directly inspired by Tim Burton's upcoming film release and said, quote, "I loved the idea of that fantasy land." Visually, Versace's Alice-inspired collection is unique from the others because of the color palette. She opted for brighter tones and focused the inspiration on the print, which is very on brand for Versace. In 2009, Kenzo creative director at the time, Antonia Maras, said he wanted to, quote, "bring dreams to the world of fashion," and took inspiration directly from the Lewis Carroll poem in Through the Looking Glass, and designed a collection called In Memory of a Summer Day. The collection features lots of floral prints and flowy fabrics, but also some more structured and tailored looks. These all very much give Tea Party in the Woods, which is Wonderland all over. Now, Vivienne Westwood, or should I say Dame Vivienne Westwood, spent a formidable amount of her career taking inspiration from Wonderland. She has stated that it was her favourite childhood book, and she even got to do a custom-designed special edition of the book for the 150th anniversary of Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. Westwood visually framed and art-directed the visuals for the book, so she had say over the inner illustrations and designed a classic Vivienne-style cover for the book. As for collections and actual pieces of Westwood's that were inspired by Wonderland, there are still many. Red Label, the Autumn-Winter 2011/2012 collection, was shown at London Fashion Week and showed a spin on the royal family, but through the lens of Wonderland. Pieces represented the White and the Red Queens. Between 2010 and 2014, Westwood collabed with brand Coty and released a fragrance line inspired by Alice. And in 2015, also during the 150th anniversary of the book, Westwood collabed with design studio Zag and recreated the Mad Hatter's entire tea party with a visual merchandising installation. Mannequins were styled as the White Rabbit, the Mad Hatter, of course, and the Queen of Hearts as a visually stunning representation of the story. So now let's talk about our collection. Normally for design challenge videos, I do a wee history and background on the subject and then think of some keywords to project us into ideation phase. But since the collection is going to be very clear on theme, I think we can skip keywords today and just dive into ideation around Alice in Wonderland. However, I do want there to be an additional challenge layer to this. We're going to blind pick the garment category, and I want those categories to be the challenge. I've done this a few times for my design challenge videos, and it's always so fun. So here are our options, and whatever the generator gives us will be what we design for. We have lingerie, bridal, avant-garde/runway, and streetwear. Streetwear would definitely be a challenge, so part of me is a bit worried about that one. Let's see what we get. Drum roll, please. And we got avant-garde, runway. You know what? Even though I wasn't wanting it at the start, streetwear would have been a fun challenge, so I might just do a short or a TikTok for that one, but based on the same mood board we end up making here, let me know if you want to see that. Okay, so let's get into some ideation and gather some images for our mood board before we start designing. I'm really just going to be like natural and organic with this ideation session. If you've joined us before for a design video, you're likely familiar with this step and the keywords and stuff, but this time around, I'm really just going to let myself fall down these like visual rabbit holes and grab imagery that speaks to me and leans towards my personal aesthetics, but keeping our theme in mind. I like darker visuals, which is likely obvious to you by now, but I really do love a whimsical fairy tale visual too. So I'm kind of hoping that these two vibes get combined in some way. As I always do for ideation and image collection, I'm just gonna keep going until the vibes run out or I get the feeling of like, okay, we're done now and let's go. So, images at the ready, blank canvas ready, let's assemble. As I sort of predicted, and I didn't intentionally sought after this by the way, but most of these images are definitely leaning more dark. But that's my style and that's what I love, and I love imagery like this. Spooky, a little uncomfy, unsettling, but whimsical. I'm just gonna move these around and sort of sort them by vibes and texture and tone and color and pattern and just reassemble and resize just to see what sort of through line we see here. I'm really excited about creating this collection, and this is one that I would love to push over into sewing vlog territory, which I want to start doing more of here on my channel, like physically making and sewing things for you to see, like collection production vlogs and stuff like that, more than just design videos. But anyways, here is our final mood board for our Alice in Wonderland inspired collection. Let's get to some designing. While we're sketching, I wanted to just remind those who maybe aren't super familiar about what avant-garde is, because for this video, the final pieces might be a wee bit daunting, as this is not a ready-to-wear collection. This is more wearable art. In avant-garde fashion, the body is used as the canvas. Pieces like this are highly experimental and are intended to push boundaries using non-traditional materials for fashion and complicated silhouettes. Most of my design videos thus far have been more ready-to-wear garments for the most part, but this one we got avant-garde, and it kind of takes me back to my childhood when I would design all the time. I knew far less about fabrics and construction, so there was never that barrier of possibility in my childhood designs. Now, as an adult who has much more experience and knowledge in fashion design, sometimes I think that can hold back our whimsy a wee bit. So getting to design an avant-garde collection today is really exciting for me. And here are our final pieces. I wound up doing 5 in total. It was very nearly 6, but let's run through and talk about materials. Piece 1 is a tiered gown with nude corset for bodice with a grey and silver 3D glitter tulle overlay. Skirt is tiered with that same tulle but also this light blue metallic faux fur. There are 3 long stem black flowers for the show effect, and the flowers would have faces just like in Wonderland. Piece 2 is a high neck mini dress. This one is a bit more wearable and not as avant-garde. The underbust corset is in a black and white floral print cotton. High neck and massive puff sleeves are a floral sequin embroidered sheer material. The pink you see is a metallic faux fur. The picture shows that one off a bit better. And the brooch in the center of the neck on the bodice there is a clock atop a pink bow. Piece 3 is a high neck black gown. Drop waist bodice is in that same black sequin embroidered material, and that would have to be an overlay so we can be sure we have the structure. Double lace details in the front in a powder blue. Massive off the sleeve puff shoulders. Skirt is a sheer chiffon with a black metallic tassel along the hem. Piece 4, I call this the looking glass dress, is a mini dress with mirrors as the cups. An asymmetrical lace-up detail and flower cluster on the opposite hip. Material is our black sequin embroidered fabric again, but this time it's an overlay over a powder blue fabric beneath. Piece 5, and the most dramatic of all, is a full teacup moment. Now this would have to be constructed out of maybe acrylic or a foam and then covered with the powder blue glitter fabric, but that skirt element there is our black metallic layered tassels. And that is all 5 pieces in our Wonderland inspired avant-garde mini capsule collection. What do you think? This one took me ages and ages, and I had so many technical difficulties over here that I very, very nearly did not get today's video out, but I could have spent so much longer on this one as well, design-wise. I had a really good time with it. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave it a thumbs up and shoot me a comment down below, as it really helps get the videos out there a lot more. Subscribe if you haven't already. I did just hit 100 subscribers yesterday, and that's very exciting for me, so thank you for that. Anyways, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!